Make some noise for your host, Kid Copious.
What up, perps? Kid Copious, back in the bunker. Purple State Party. Having issues with the mask already. Look at that. What did I do over here? There we go. There we go. Look at that pretty smile on his face. And that was a good one. I like that one. So anyhow, we're on episode 27. Pretty proud of myself. It's about 95 degrees in here. I'm wearing my jacket just to remind you of my dedication. You can jump right into it here. Got some bad news for the Democrats. You're starting to lose support with people, man. The people who you just take for granted. That's what it is, you know. They just take that vote for granted. They don't do anything for it. It's a damn shame, really. You know, they make so many promises to people who really need shit fixed, you know. But they just use them. Media uses them. And the Democrats use them. All right, whatever. You know. But I like that. You know. Getting a more colorful Republican Party is a good thing. So, this week, you know, we had a thing that really pissed me off happen. Basically, somebody who I really love and respect, Tyler Joseph, 21 Pilots, Addict with a Pen, The Hype. I mean, even at my age, man, I still suffer my problems, and he talks about it in a way that I guess for lack of better words, that's the way I would say it, you know. And I got a lot of respect from him. My daughter actually had to win me over, but that's a story for another day. We went and saw him live. Another story, another day. But he was forced to make a statement. Somebody said, "Hey, Tyler, you know, why don't you use your platform?" So he basically posted a picture of himself putting on some old platform shoes that he had, and he got a lot of hate for that. A lot of people thought that he was making a joke, which he was. You know, it was a joke. To me, it was actually kind of funny, because you know, we need some humor right now, and I think that's the way he took it, because mental illness, sadness, being alone in your head, along with your thoughts, you know, that's something that he talks about a lot in his music and outside of music. And you know, he made a joke, and everybody was like, "Oh, you got to say something." And they actually forced him to say something, and I don't like that. It's very un-American. It's like the people going around forcing people at restaurants to denounce their white privilege and stuff. I mean, it's just, you know, it's just kind of crazy. I just cannot figure out where to put this on camera, you know. But anyhow, you know, forcing people to express you know, to denounce something or to make a statement even when they don't want to, against their free will. I mean, that doesn't sound good, man. That sounds a lot like communism. That sounds a lot like captured pilots in Vietnam or captured soldiers during the Iraq conflicts in Afghanistan, you know, being forced to denounce America. You know, also I don't like to hear from celebrities, because oftentimes, you know, this happens. Chelsea Handler, who I was a huge fan of, came out and said she hated Republicans. You know, I'm a Republican. I have to vote that way. I wish it was purple state, but it's not yet. I have to go with the people who are more in line with the things that I consider to be fundamentally important. Some issues are not as fundamentally important. I live in California. We didn't have AC today. Hit like 113 degrees out here. We didn't have AC because we don't have enough electricity. See, that's what I mean. That's too far to the left. But not only do I lose Chelsea Handler, but now I'm losing Aisha Tyler for this. You know, he wasn't trying to break up a fight. He was armed. He was not relieved the police were there. And he simply was not just trying to get to his car. He was trying to leave. He was resisting arrest. He was putting officers' lives potentially at risk. That's all there is to it. They don't know what's in the car. Hindsight is 20/20, because you can look back and go, "Oh, there wasn't XYZ in the car." You know? But how do they know that? They're not mind readers. They don't know what's in somebody's head. They don't know what's inside somebody's car. And at the end of the day, they chose the profession of protecting the public. Yeah, some of them don't get it right. I get that. I understand that. That's not the debate. The larger number are out there to serve. Why would a bigoted officer want to serve in a predominantly minority area if he was a racist? It doesn't track. It doesn't track. This was not just simply singling somebody out. They draw plenty of comparisons between this case and other cases. And the truth of the matter is if you comply, you comply. If they shoot you and wound you and you survive, fine. There's plenty of different ways these things can go, but the officers don't know. Now, somebody I do respect, Candace Owens, yeah, I might disagree with her on some things, but, as you see right here, in pretty graphic detail, victims are being left behind in this. We are just discounting what she was going through. We're discounting possibly the true reality of what was actually happening. Who knows what he was really going to do? Who knows? We don't know. The police intervened. Apparently, somebody called the cops. They saw it. This wasn't like what Aisha was saying. I mean, not according to the police reports. And I'm sorry, but, that's what you got to go with. You got to go with what you hear on the video. Why were the cops yelling, drop a knife? Drop the knife, drop the knife. Why were they saying that if he didn't have a knife? Were they just saying that because they planned on shooting him? Yeah. People aren't that bright to come up with conspiracies like that. Right here, you see part of the police report. This comes from one of the local papers, not mainstream media. It was, I believe, a Kenosha paper. He fought with them. They tried to use their tasers, and it didn't work. Tasers don't always work. They have to penetrate. And if they don't get through clothing, if they miss, if they glance, if they don't get the right area, they're ineffective. It's just the way it is. That's reality, folks. That pretty much says it right there. Like, if you don't do that, then it's probably going to turn out better for you. If you don't just simply walk away like that. I don't understand. You don't have the right to simply say, no, you're not putting me under arrest. You don't have that right. It's like we said last week, settle it in the courts, not on the streets. This is, again, further things that were coming, that are the truth versus what people choose to believe. He was not there as some benevolent peacekeeper. That's a load of bullshit. And why would they spin it that way? And for half the country, it just makes people look at the subject, Jacob Blake, and his race and all of that, and it feeds into their hysteria. And then for the social justice warriors out there, those lame bunch of turds, it feeds into their side too, man. And it dawned on me, going through all this Jacob Blake stuff. If you could see why it would be advantageous to play both sides of the field, and they do it in a clickbaity way, maybe they shouldn't be trusted. I mean, I just saw a video about a video company in Vietnam that has 100 YouTube channels. They use thumbnails, catchy thumbnails that have nothing to do with the video. They use titles. They put a number, they put an adjective, they put a noun, and then they put a promise. And they just repeat this process over and over again. That's what the media can do. That's what they do with these news cycles. Here's something to make you hate black people. Here's something to make you hate the cops. They give you both of what you want. But they don't give you the truth. And that's dangerous, as we've seen with COVID. We don't know who to trust. I still don't think we do. I think for the most part, the American citizen's been on its own. I actually think Claire, another, very controversial figure, I guess. I mean, nowadays, speaking the truth is controversial. But that's what happened. A lot of people out there, they make up stuff. Like, One thing that the right was saying was that he raped a child, which was not true. And the way they got to that was somebody posted his charges for third-degree sexual assault. Then they posted what that meant. The problem is this was in Wisconsin and this was in another state. So they basically compared apples and oranges, but they colored the orange red and called it an apple. And that ain't helpful, guys. You know, if you look around the country, Seattle, Portland, all these places, man, I'm tired of listing Atlanta and Minneapolis and all this. Tired of Rochester, New York now with the restaurants being demolished, the outdoor restaurants. You know, that's the truth. We don't need to lie. Let them lie. Let them try to spin the truth. But spinning it back on them doesn't help. Hit them with facts. The fact is he was charged with third-degree sexual assault of the lady who he was seeing that day, and the police were called. That's what led to it. He ain't no fucking folk hero. You know? But again, the media wants to paint him as a folk hero. They want to paint these pictures so Trump goes out and he shows them. Here you go. This is what it looks like. That's the damage that was done. Peaceful protests are turning into violent riots. It's a mathematical formula now. I don't care what people... I mean, sure, there's been protests all over the country that have remained peaceful because they're going after certain areas or flashpoints. Like Kenosha was a flashpoint, but Portland, they got a weak-ass mayor. They got a weak-ass governor. They're so hippy-dippy, they've been letting people get away with anything. You know, places like San Francisco where they're giving heroin. They give heroin to these people. You know? And this is why these things are bad ideas. Because I'm going to have a hard time respecting somebody. I'm not 100% sure who that is. I'm just going to let it go. But the truth is he's not a hero. He does not deserve to be on your helmet. He attacked a woman. He stole money from her. You know, look that up. That's what he's being charged with. You know, am I supposed to not believe her? I mean, I'm sorry. It does sound like something an ex-boyfriend would do. Sexual assault, steal her ATM card. You know? I mean, it seems plausible. And they're going to put his name on a helmet. But fortunately, there's some people out there who get it. Tyler Eford apparently is going to put David Dorn on his helmet. David Dorn is a hero. He was a police officer, a police chief. He went out he was in the middle of riots trying to protect a business. And he was killed for it. That's a hero, not some punk that resisted arrest. It's just pure and simple. The guy was resisting arrest, man. What would you have done if he reached into the car? Well, what would you have done? Of course, again, this is another example of it, that they don't want to talk about the good that he does. But, you know, the opportunity zones, $75 billion. That's a lot of money. That's positive change. I mean, what has BLM donated? Huh? I mean, government, $75 billion. BLM what? You're donating to candidates, man. You're Marxist. Forget about it. This is the kind of thing, I only bring this one up because this is a prime example of not being able to tell the truth of the matter. I don't really give a shit. I think both of these... just because you make a stupid decision like Kyle did, doesn't mean you don't have the right to self-defense. And that's going to be up to the courts, and I ain't going to say nothing because I've seen the video, and I'm pretty sure I would have fired too. I think a lot of people would, but that other... whatever, man. That's just way too sad, man. You know, and who knows if he actually has that. I'm not going to look into it. I'm just going to ignore it. I don't really care. But it's just the example of how people put up these opposing viewpoints and may or may not tell the truth. Just like the Democrats don't tell the truth. You know, this is the fear, is that Joe is going to lead in these radical idiots. You know, people who put the environment so far ahead of human beings that we have to suffer for the environment. And I'm sorry, we need to do better by the environment, but we got to do what we got to do. I mean, it's not safe to plunge California into rolling blackouts and stuff and not have AC. People can die, you know. But anyhow, on to more stupid left shit. I'm not oppressed. You're a disgrace to your people. And of course he's wearing Che Guevara, a violent revolutionary. He has bad or worse than the government he replaced. I mean, this is a prime example of what we were seeing, last week. Finally, the Democrats realized it was a bad idea to allow the riots to continue. And I don't really know if they actually switched it off. I think a lot of people want to say they switched it off, but no. They're not listening because those people aren't there for the cause you think they're there for. They're there to blow off steam. They're pissed about COVID. They're bored, and this is their party, and this is what they're going to do. They're going to trash people's property. They're going to try fight the cops. They're going to do all this because they think it's lawless and nothing's going to happen. I have a feeling a lot of these people are going to return to normal life at some point and get scooped up because they're all on video. Of course, this week we have the Pelosi getting her hair done. I mean, these people are so corrupt. It is hypocritical. She was walking through there in a mask, and what's being said there, I think is a very valid point. We are way past low in the spread, and they're just trying to control us. They're trying to get us broken. They're trying to break us, and they're using COVID to do it. And America is not about coercing people into making speeches, about threatening people to denounce things, and it's certainly not about this much government control, ruining businesses, ruining lives, fucking everything up for people. Democrats have set the house on fire. They deny there's a fire, they shame anybody who says there's a fire, and they block the streets so the fire trucks can't get in. And then they blame the fire chief. That really sums it up. They're the ones who let it happen. And this is one of the guys right here. This little punk right over there. Ted Wheeler. He thinks he could sit down and be the cool dad with them. But they're not there for that, man. They're there for anarchy. They don't give a shit about your old ass, so get your fuck out of there. But isn't that typical? They just abandon the areas they oversee. Just like Pelosi and Waters and Bass. And Schiff. They don't do shit for the community, man. They don't do anything. They sit in Washington and figure out ways to get richer. This is a great, list right there of the hypocrisy that goes on. I mean, look at those lunatics, man. I mean, I know that Republicans are more than likely doing some of the same stuff or some other different stuff. I know it. They're politicians. Come on. That's what politicians do. But these people are ruining the areas they work in, or work for, excuse me. That's what they've done. I'm not too sure about the Philly mayor. I don't know. I have been to Philadelphia since the late 80s. But Lori Lightfoot, man, she should just keep her fucking mouth shut. I mean, she has just literally ruined. I mean, talk about taking a nice city and just ruining it. I mean, they have just ruined that, and she's just polishing it off. And Pelosi, Jesus. San Francisco, 96% increase over last year in real estate available. It's too scummy and too high priced. The policies in San Francisco have ruined a beautiful city. Ruined. Go there for yourself, man. Watch some of the videos. Watch some of them. Look at what it's like, man. People doing drugs, going into stores, and just taking a nap in the aisles. Come on. And that shit's condoned, man. And encouraged. It really is. It's a codependency with the city. The city of San Francisco has begun a codependent relationship with drug addicts. So this is how they're going to rescue themselves, by putting Biden signs into Animal Crossing. But the comment down the bottom there, way to ruin the only nice thing about the pandemic, Joe. That's somebody who sees right through the bullshit. Right there. I like that guy. Sometimes you just hit it out of the park, and that's what he did. Now, here's another celebrity who I don't mind hearing from, because I guess he sees the same things I do. But that's what's going on, man. These are brown shirt bullies, man. That's all they are. And the Democrats are trying to use them as a backdoor, as a distraction. You know? The Democrats don't do shit about it because they think that blaming Trump is enough for their supporters. Man, if I was one of their supporters, I would demand more. Come on. Here's some of my favorite ones right there. This is Bill. He supports his black friends, but not BLM. He supports his white friends, but not the Ku Klux Klan. He is not woke. Be like Bill. What? Woke. Apparently it just means like made stupid by facts and half-truths. Because, yeah, they do use facts. There is a problem with the environment, but the Green Deal ain't the way to save it, man. That ain't the way to save it, you know. The police forces need to be better about things, but defunding them is not going to help. Giving them less money will only make them worse. So woke? Well, it's ridiculous, man. Those social justice warriors, they're fucking ridiculous. Because they don't have any common sense. If they don't have any common sense, then they're fucking ridiculous. Larry Elder taking the top spot again. Mostly peaceful protests, mostly floating ship, mostly flying airplane, mostly unbiased news reporting. And that is, sadly, you know, where a lot of this lies. Because the Democrats can be evil. Republicans, maybe the Republicans could be evil too. But the media is spinning it so that you don't even realize who's evil. That's the big problem, man. They're fighting really hard to get their guy in. That's, you know, playing both sides. You know, making the white man feel bad about how blacks are treated while at the same time reminding us why people don't like blacks. That's the media for you, man. They play both sides. They just want the clicks. We have to scratch the surface. Snopes.com is a great place to go. It's one of the few places I trust. I also trust like local websites because usually there's not as much slant at the local level. It's basically just reporting of facts, you know. Other than that, I try to look for some off-brand type newspapers. I think there's one called Israel Today. I even look at Al Jazeera. But I can't take anything on Instagram, Facebook, CNN, Fox News. Keep it in mind, man. You know, I'm not sitting here saying one side's wrong. I'm saying both sides are wrong. But ultimately, one side is a lot wronger. Wronger? I don't know. But they've got a bad plan for America, man. You see what the Democrats are like. You see what the softy nanny state leads to. Look no further than California, man. We should be forced to give up the title of Golden State. Big fuck you to Gavin Newsom and to all the Democrats that have ruined the place of my birth. Copious out.